Hey guys, it's KevyDog4. This is my NFL Week 3 predictions video. For the Thursday night game, Houston versus New England, I picked New England because they're on their third-string quarterback, Jacoby Brissett, after Garoppolo got injured last week. Both teams are 2-0, but New England, considering all the circumstances with the Tom Brady suspension, they haven't let it get in their way, and they've been playing incredible football these past 2 weeks, so I picked New England over Houston. Baltimore versus Jacksonville. I picked Jacksonville even though they're 0-2 and Baltimore is 2-0 because Jacksonville, in the first week, they barely lost to Green Bay, who is a pretty good team. And I feel like that their record does not show the level of football that their team is playing, and I feel like they're due for a week to bounce back, so I'm picking Jacksonville. Washington versus the New York Giants. I picked the Giants because they started out 2-0. They look pretty strong this year. And Washington's been struggling a bit. So I picked the Giants over the Redskins. Green Bay versus Detroit. This is a no-brainer. I picked Green Bay because Detroit's been struggling to start out the season. Green Bay has started out pretty strong. They're 1-1. But I feel like this is just going to be a slaughter fest here, and Green Bay is going to beat Detroit. Cleveland versus Miami. Cleveland is now on their third-string quarterback, Cody Kessler. He hasn't proven himself. He's never taken a snap in a game before. So I'm going to pick Miami because we don't know what Cody Kessler is like, and we don't know how well he's going to play football. So I'm going to pick Miami this week. Minnesota versus Carolina. I picked the Vikings because they started out 2-0. A lot of people counted them out as soon as Teddy Bridgewater went down, but Sam Bradford and Sean Hill have led the team to 2 wins. Carolina is 1-1. They lost to the Broncos. In week 2 last week, they beat the Niners by a lot, but I think that Minnesota's defense is going to shut down Carolina big time because I've been very impressed with their defense. So I picked Minnesota here. Denver and Cincinnati, I picked the Bengals because, yes, Denver started out 2-0, but I feel like this week they're going to end up losing their first game, and Cincinnati I feel like they're underrated, and I feel like they're going to come out with the win here because they're playing at home. Arizona and Buffalo. I picked the Cardinals. Buffalo hasn't won a game yet. Arizona lost to the Patriots, but they won by a lot of points to the Buccaneers last week. So I picked the Cardinals. Oakland and Tennessee. I picked the Raiders because, once again, Tennessee they are 1-1, but they've only won the one game by 1 point over Detroit. Oakland is also 1-1, but they've played a lot better football than Tennessee. Los Angeles versus Tampa Bay. I picked Tampa Bay because Los Angeles has only scored 9 points all season. Even though Tampa Bay lost miserably last week, they're a lot stronger of a football team, I feel like. They played a lot better week 1. And I feel like Los Angeles is not going to have the offensive production to win this game, so I picked Tampa. San Francisco versus Seattle. This is kind of one of those ones where I'm picking the underdog here. I'm going to pick the Niners because Seattle, in the first week, they won by the skin of their teeth, 10-12 over the Dolphins, and the Dolphins are not very strong. So they barely came out with the win here in week 1, and it was a last-second play from what I can remember. And then last week, they lost to the Rams 9-3, so they've only scored 15 points all season. And the Niners, even though they lost last week, they still put up about 28 points. And in the first week, they scored 28 points. So their offensive production is a lot better than Seattle, so I'm going to pick San Francisco. Pittsburgh versus Philadelphia. I'm going to pick Pittsburgh because this team is very solid consistently year to year. We don't know how Philadelphia is going to do, especially with Carson Wentz, against a real good football team, because in week 1 they played the Browns, in week 2 they played the Bears. Neither team has won a game yet. Pittsburgh is a winning team. We don't know if Carson Wentz is going to get roughed up or if he's going to come through and win this game for Philadelphia, so I'm going to pick Pittsburgh. New York Jets versus Kansas City. I'm going to pick the Jets because they lost by 1 point to Cincinnati. They won last week over the Bills. Kansas City, however, did have that big comeback week 1 over the Chargers at home. So this game is probably going to be close, but I'm going to pick the Jets here. And San Diego versus Indianapolis. This is one of those ones where Indianapolis just looks really bad this year. San Diego, they had that week 1. I was just talking about this. Week 1, they had the big lead, and then they blew it. But I'm going to still pick San Diego because they beat Jacksonville by a lot last week, so I'm just going to pick San Diego. Chicago versus Dallas. I'm going to pick the Cowboys because Dak Prescott has been playing really, really well so far. Chicago is starting Brian Hoyer this week, and I think highly of him as a quarterback, but the rest of his offense did not look good last week, and the defense was not strong, so I'm going to pick Dallas. And Atlanta versus New Orleans. This is the Monday night game. I'm going to pick the Saints because this is a team where their record does not at all show the level of football that this team has been playing. They have played really well in both games that they've played. Week 1 especially, they lost by 1 point to the Raiders. And Drew Brees threw, I think, 4 touchdown passes and over 400 yards. So he looked really strong. Last week, he put up 2 touchdowns, I think, and somewhere between 260 and mid-300s in yards, I think. Drew Brees just looks really good, and they've gotten robbed 2 weeks in a row. So I'm going to pick them over Atlanta, even though I think this game's going to be close. So those are my predictions for this week. Thanks for watching. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment below and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you in my next video.